Thank you. It's great to be here with you in Delhi. You know, throughout history, there have always been inventions that have changed the world. The telephone, printing press, the television and radio, railways and automobiles. All these inventions changed our lives and changed society because they help connect people. When people are connected, we can accomplish some pretty amazing things. We can get closer to the people that we care about. We can get access to new jobs and opportunities and ideas. We can receive education and healthcare and communication and access to new services. But technology isn't progress by itself. Instead, it enables progress and a lot of the things that we care deeply about. But technology, it has to serve the whole of society. Connectivity can't just be a privilege for some of the rich and powerful. It needs to be something that everyone shares and an opportunity for everyone. And when the benefits of this technology are shared across the whole society, that's when we can start to make a really big leap forward. So that's what we're excited about. Now, throughout history, India has always been really good and shown an ability to make these leaps. Because of the Green Revolution, you lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and showed that this country can feed itself. Because of how you've embraced the computer revolution, you have a vibrant computer industry and a lot of the best engineers in the world. You know, just last month, India became the first country in Asia and one of the only countries in the world to send a probe to Mars. It's a huge technical achievement. Now, because you've embraced science and research and education, now the next generation here has the opportunity to define the future and bring India to the world and the world to India. And a key to this next big opportunity is going to be embracing the internet. Because if you embrace the internet, you can transform lots of people's lives, and you can touch and you can improve people's lives and these communities even more in the next generation than you were able to in the last. But we have a long way to go to get there. Because today, only about 1/3 of people in the world have access to the internet at all. More than 2/3 of people, or about 2/3 of people, don't. Only 2.7 billion people have any access. Here in India, it's a bit better. You have 243 million people are connected to the internet, and more than 100 million are on Facebook already. So, I mean, that's a big achievement. But you know, there's still more than 1 billion people in India who can't connect and don't have access to the same opportunities as everyone else. And because of this, I think that the whole world is being robbed of those people's ideas and creativity. So it's not just those folks who are missing out, but we really all are. Now, it's easy to assume that it's just a matter of time before everyone gets connected, right? After all, you know, most people have mobile phones, and for a lot of us, it's actually pretty hard to even imagine what a mobile phone is without an internet connection. But if you think about the cost of having a mobile phone with an internet connection, the vast majority of that cost isn't actually the phone itself, it's the connection and the internet access. So it's actually pretty easy to imagine a world where, unless we can decrease the cost of getting access to the internet, where the majority of people will end up having phones but no reliable access to the internet. So we really need to change this and make it so that this is affordable and so that everyone can have access to the internet all the time. And in order to really tackle this, we're going to have to solve and knock down all of the major barriers that people have to connectivity. We've done a lot of research to understand each of these barriers. And last week we published with McKinsey a report that goes into a bunch of detail on a number of these barriers. You know, so now we know that there are 4.5 billion people who are not connected at all, who are offline. 3.4 billion of these people are in just 20 countries in the world. 920 million of these people are not connected because they can't read. A little more than 1 billion aren't connected because they don't live near an existing mobile network. So they just can't get access to 2G or 3G signals. We're also doing some work to address some of the physical challenges to connectivity that the 10 or 15% of folks who live outside of outside of range where there's just no existing network infrastructure are. So deploying traditional network infrastructure to connect rural communities with low population density isn't really cost effective or practical, which is why it hasn't been done yet. So we're working to develop new technologies that can be more efficient for doing this and to help connect these 15% of people. So earlier this year, we launched the Connectivity Lab, which is designing new technologies like satellites and solar-powered planes that can beam down internet from the sky and help connect folks in these areas that traditional technology hasn't been cost-effective to deploy. Our research has found that in developing countries, 25% fewer women than men are connected to the internet. And if we want to live up to our full potential, we really need an internet where every woman has the right to get connected and get online. So that's an important cultural and social barrier. But the biggest barrier is actually that a lot of people who have never experienced the internet just don't know why they would want it or why it's a useful thing for them. A recent survey that we did shows that 69% of people in India who are not connected, if you ask them why they're not connected, what they say is that they don't know why the internet would be useful for them, which is kind of mind-boggling if you think about it. But if you think about it for a moment, it makes sense. Because most people can actually afford some basic connectivity. But if you grew up and you never had access to a computer, and you never had access to the internet, and you haven't used the internet, and then someone asked you, do you want to buy a data plan, then you'd probably also ask, why would I want that? Connecting the world, we really believe, is one of the fundamental challenges of our generation. And progress is going to be difficult here, and it's not guaranteed. But I think if we work together, we can really make a big impact on knocking down some of these barriers to connectivity, both here in India and all over the world. India it's this amazing country with unlimited potential. And if we can connect more people here, we can not only improve the lives of hundreds of millions of people in India, but we can help bring this rich culture and imagination and innovation to all of the rest of the world. So I hope you'll join us in doing this. Thank you.
This is the beginning of a new chapter for us, wherein we bring some of the core capabilities that we have in creation of platforms and now bring it to a mobile-first, cloud-first era. When we think about the cloud opportunity in India itself, it's going to be a $2 trillion opportunity. Just as in the case of mobile devices, India was able to leapfrog with the adoption of mobile devices. I believe that the cloud infrastructure, especially world-class cloud infrastructure, is going to help Indian companies, Indian government, every Indian entrepreneur to be able to really revitalize the productivity of this economy. Quite buoyed by that success, the announcement today I want to make is that we are going to make our commercial cloud services available from local data centers. This is a major step for us, and it fits with our worldview, which is that distributed computing will remain distributed, and people like us who have global infrastructure are going to take that global infrastructure and make it available in every country. And we want to start here with India and make our data centers, or make our services available on local data centers. So this means we will have Azure, which is our cloud infrastructure service, as well as our Office 365 service, which brings together all of our productivity and collaboration capability to Indian market, operated out of Indian data centers. We have over 10,000 partners who work with us. And by doing this, we have now opened up a huge opportunity for those 10,000 partners to be able to take these world-class services and make them available broadly, touching every walk of life, every vertical industry. In the broader context, there are over 900 million users of cell phones. There are 250 million users of smartphones, in other words, internet-connected phones, and that's only going to grow. For every connected smartphone, you need to have cloud infrastructure that is hosting the applications, the data, and the intelligence. And what we have done today is said that we want to be a leader in providing a cloud for every Indian and every Indian application and developer. That we want to enable this burgeoning entrepreneurial spirit of India to be able to create the indigenized experiences that power all of the mobile endpoints that only are going to grow in both variety and form. Every time we make some success and we have $1 of revenue, there's $10 of revenue that gets created for our partners in this economy. That is at the core of what we have done everywhere. We bring together and harmonize the disparate interests of developers, end users, and IT professionals. That ability to bring together these interests is what creates the magic of platforms, and that's what we are doing now with our cloud platforms as well as our device platforms.
Whenever there's new competition, so like online is sort of competition for physical stores, and of course online is also facilitating the business of the physical stores. So you know, a lot of the small sellers that I'm talking about, these small and medium enterprises, they are physical stores, but now we're just giving them a new way to access this world. But I think what will happen is whenever there's competition, everybody gets better. Everybody has to raise their game, and so the winner, of course, is the customer. You know, society gets the.
It's nice of you to give us some time.
Thank you.
Welcome to TV Today.
Great to be here.
What do you make of the new Prime Minister of India?
He has a fantastic international reputation. Seems you know, practical and focused, and I'm super excited to meet him.
So, are people like you who come from a different space are going to enlarge the scope and size of the relationship between India and the United States?
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I think that, you know, the scope of that relationship is pretty big already. And you know, Amazon, for example, have been doing things in India for 10 years now. 10 years ago, we started a software development center in Bangalore, and we've built more operations in Chennai and Hyderabad. And then a year ago, we launched Amazon India, and it's grown beyond our wildest dreams already in just the first year. And we're investing more in it. So there's a lot going on, and you know, I find India super energizing. I get here, and I think the people are they're energetic, they're energizing, they're inventive, they're entrepreneurial. It's fun, it's exciting. The growth, this is the fastest geographic launch we've ever had at Amazon. And so, you know, sometimes you can be too early, sometimes you can be too late, sometimes you get lucky enough that you're just right. That's what I'm hoping. I think the approach that our team is taking seems to be working incredibly well. They're really relying on small and medium enterprises, and they're building tools that facilitate those small and medium businesses to get their products to customers. So make it easy for those small and medium businesses to sell to the whole digital ecosystem. We're really taking advantage of the mobile ecosystem. So, you know, one of the things that's interesting about India, besides how many small and medium businesses there are, how many mobile phones there are.
Correct.
And that's growing by leaps and bounds, and the smartphones are getting less expensive and more capable. So that's also very exciting.
You spoke about how mobile phones are preponderant in India, and more than the internet as a device through laptops and computers.
That's right.
It's the mobile phone and smartphones which are going to drive e-commerce in the future. So is there a particular strategy or a play which is specifically focused and devoted to mobile commerce?
Yes, it's all, you know, we have mobile apps today, and one part of what we're going to do with that investment is continue to invest in that mobile platform to make it even easier for people to buy and purchase from their mobile phones. And of course, mobile phones come in all different capabilities. Some of the high-end phones are very, very capable. Some of the low-end phones need more special apps. So we're working on all of that. We're investing in the whole mobile kind of array of devices. What's exciting about, you know, for these small and medium sellers here in India is that they can reach a national audience, and then actually even beyond that, we're working on systems so that they'll be able to reach a global audience, because we have hundreds of millions of customers in the US and in Europe, Japan, around the world, And there's no reason why these small Indian sellers can't reach all of those global customers with their unique selection.
So is this the future, that people will stop going to shops? Or do you think they'll coexist?
I don't think so. I think
do you think it'll coexist?
I think they coexist. You know, there are some things that you can do online that you could never do in a physical shop, but there are also some things you can do with a physical shop that you could never do online. So I think those things will coexist in the future. And a new equilibrium will emerge over time. That's what will happen.
You've seen the future since you invested in a company like Amazon. So what do you think happens 2 years or 5 years down the road from here?
Well, I think what happens whenever there's new competition, so like online is sort of competition for physical stores, and of course online is also facilitating the business of the physical stores. So you know, a lot of the small sellers that I'm talking about, these small and medium enterprises, they are physical stores, but now we're just giving them a new way to access this world. But I think what will happen is whenever there's competition, everybody gets better. Everybody has to raise their game, and so the winner, of course, is the customer, and you know, society gets the winnings.
It's also said that you're a hard taskmaster and completely customer obsessed.
We try to be. You know, that's our core customer value. We have 3 big ideas at Amazon: customer obsession, a passion for inventing. We don't like to do Me Too things. We like to figure out new things to do. And then finally, a willingness to think long term. We like to plant seeds and wait for them to grow into big trees, even if that takes many years. Some of them, of course, don't grow at all. Some of them, we plant a seed and it never sprouts. And those things are failures, and that's okay too. You can't be bold and inventive and without failure. Failure is part and parcel with experimentation. Absolutely. So we sort of accept that.
So tell me about this road trip that you took. What were you thinking? How did you draw up the blueprint for Amazon during that road trip? Because you crisscrossed across the United States.
I wrote the business plan. We flew to I flew to Fort Worth and picked up an old car that my dad didn't need anymore that he gave me, and I took that and I drove that car from Fort Worth to Seattle. And my wife actually did most of the driving while I was working on the business plan. And so I already had the concept, but I had to write down kind of a formal business plan, which helped me clarify a lot of my thinking. And then I used that also to raise money to get the company started. This was in 1994, and I raised the money in 94, 95. It took 60 meetings to raise $1 million. I got about 20 investors to invest $50,000 each, and it was a very hard thing to achieve. Everybody's first question was, what's the internet?